Hello and welcome back. After getting our environment up and running, you are now ready to create our project. And for the sake of this application, you are going to make a multi-layer project, and you are going to be having three kind of projects. The one will be the .NET Web API that will contain all these folders, and all these folders will be containing some files that will help us with handling errors, DTOs, helpers, middlewares, and extension classes, as well as the controllers. And we will also have other two class libraries, and those two class libraries, one will be for infrastructure and other will be for the core. And this is now where we'll be in the infrastructure. This is where we'll be having our database context. We will be having a seed data, repositories, entity configuration, and migrations. All right. And also in the core, that we'll be having entities, interfaces, and specifications, as well as other business logic codes. And I kept this separated so as to be able to have a clean working space where everything is in its own project, and we don't have to mix the business code and data access as well as other kind of codes. We need to have them in the separate projects. I'm going to minimize this and go ahead and create all of these three projects. All right, and inside the folder on where I'm going to be saving the project, I'm going to go ahead and open the CMD in here. And after opening the CMD, I'm going to go ahead and type .NET new list to bring out the list of the projects that I can make by using .NET. And you can see that there will be a bunch of these, but we will need to create the one for ASP.NET Core Web API, and it has this short name. And we need to create also the solution file that will contain all the projects. And also we need to add the class libraries, and the short name for that is the class lib. So I'm going to go ahead and create the screen so as to have it clean. And I'm going to go ahead and first create the solution. I'm going to type .NET new SRN, and I'm going to pass in the n argument, and I'm going to add the name, and I'm going to call this as shop it. I'm going to call my project as shop it, and go ahead and press enter. And once the solution now is successfully created, you can see that I'm getting it into the folder. I can go ahead and start to create all of these projects. As I told you, we need to create the .NET Web API project, and we are going also to create other class libraries. So to create a .NET Web API project, I'm going to say .NET new. And I'm going to say web API, and I'm going to pass in the name. I'm going to call this as API and press enter and wait until it is created. And you can see that it is now storing. All right, you can see that it was successfully created. After creating this .NET Web API project, I'm going to create other two class libraries. And the first one, I'm going to say .NET new class lib. And I'm going to call this as infrastructure, like this one, infrastructure, and go ahead and press enter. All right, and lastly, we need to create another one, .NET new class lib, and I'm going to call this as core, like this, and press enter. And you can see that I successfully created all of these three projects, and and you can see that I'm having this solution, but they aren't added there yet. And I'm going to go ahead and add all of those projects into the solution. And the way we do that, I'm going to say .NET SRN add, and I'm going to add the API like this one, and wait until it is done. And I'm going to do the same for infrastructure, so as to include all of these projects into our solution. And lastly, I'm going to add the core project. I'm going to say core, press enter. And once I'm successfully added this into the solution, I'm going to say .NET restore to see if we are not getting any warning or errors. And you can see that we successfully now executed our command as intended. And the next thing that we need to do is now to configure what we call the references. When you take a look to this schema, you can see that this API has a direct reference to infrastructure And infrastructure is now also having a direct reference to the core project, but you can see that the core project doesn't have any reference to other of the project. It stands on its own, but all of this project depends on it. So I'm going to minimize this and we go back to our command prompt, and I'm going to navigate to, for example, in the API, I'm going to say cd API, and inside the API I can say .NET add reference, and I'm going to go up one level and I'm going to add infrastructure, like this one, and it's going to go ahead and add a reference to the infrastructure. When you go ahead and press enter, you can wait until it do this. You can see that now the reference was added, and I'm going to go back one level and go into in the infrastructure, and I'm going to go into the infrastructure and I'm going to do the same .NET add reference, and I'm going to go up one level and I'm going to add the core and press enter and wait until this is done. And again, we're going to say .NET restore, and voila, you can see that now this was successfully done. And to be sure that our projects are in our solution, I'm going to try to open VS Code in here to see if our files are going to be opened and they are looking the way that we intended them to look. I'm going to go ahead and go back one level and say code, and I'm going to open the VS Code in here and wait until it is opened. And once it is opened here, let me bring it here, and you can see that now it was successfully installed and it has done some configurations. I'm going to go ahead and close this welcome home and close this terminal too, and you can see that I'm having all of these projects. Let me try to zoom for a little bit, and you can see that I'm having all of these projects into my IDE. And when you go ahead and open one by one, you can see that there will be those starting files. And in the next video, we are going to see on how we can clean up all of these, and we will only remain on what we are going to use. And for all of that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.